no to that.
Right.
Precisely. So Julia is the name of, I'm not calling both collectively Julia.
Yeah.
Julia is the name of the movie that is releasing tomorrow in theaters. And can you tell us a bit about the plot? This is certainly not for the faint of heart, from what I saw.
No, it isn't. Well, it's a very radical and stylish and violent revenge thriller with a striking female lead. Something pretty gruesome happens to her at the beginning of the film. She gets attacked, and she basically falls prey to this very disturbing and violent form of therapy that takes her on an even darker path of healing. And through this journey, she actually awakens to this like goddess of vengeance, and awakens actually to this like holy, albeit evil, powerful being.
Gotcha. So bring the family, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess the first question is, so it's a revenge thriller.
Yes.
Which is a very specific genre. Definitely been picking up, in this day and age. It's a revival from like something that was happening in the 70s,
Yeah.
right? What about that genre is especially interesting to you as both the writer and the director?
I mean, the thing is with this film, the way it came about, actually, I had done a short film a while ago when I was living in Berlin, and an executive producer in New York, saw the short, and he actually approached me to develop it into a feature.
Very cool.
And right around that time, I'd had two features that had come very, very close to production, and they collapsed. Like the financing dropped out for whatever reason. One of them was only a month away from shooting, and so when this kind of was put on my plate, I just went for it. And I was also just super excited by Japanese and Korean revenge thriller horrors.
Oh, that's right. That was a thing. Like what is it? The one with the piano wires. What was that one?
Oh, you're thinking
Yeah,
about Audition. Yeah,
Is that in
Audition.
that vein?
absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, I think
like
that was the
Audition.
first, not only like the first, it was the first Asian Asian horror film that I saw.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I saw it in a cinema. I was like a kid, and I saw it in the middle of the day at like next to the Froman's bookstore, in Pasadena.
Sure.
Were
There was
your
no one else
parents-
in the cinema.
Were
What's
your
that?
parents with you?
No.
Did you not approve of that?
I got into the cinema, and I came outside. It was still glaring sunlight, and I was just, I was unsteady, literally unsteady.
Wow.
And I think that lodged itself in my consciousness. So when this opportunity came, and these guys were like, "Hey, look, we think we can get a feature version of your short financed," it's like, I'm in, balls to the wall.
Nice.
So so Julia is based off of the short.
Yeah,
So that's going to be exciting to be able to it's yours.
yeah,
And you're
definitely.
expanding on it instead of taking somebody else's.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a very original movie. Yeah.
Cool. Now, y'all at home, I know our brand spanking new internet interview format may be confusing in that it looks like it's pre-recorded, but it's not. It's live. So everyone that's watching and thinking this is like TV, it isn't. You are free to chime in and ask questions.
Yes.
You'll get them answered in live, real time, which is amazing.
Which is better than TV.
Which is better than TV.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
And you
Ashley.
can actually be looking up everything about the movie while
Wow,
we're talking to them, and you can find those places to look it up, right? Just look up on your screen, like 2 inches, and you'll see where to go on Facebook.
Right
and
there.
Twitter.
You can IMDb these two guests.
And you can watch the
Stalk
trailer.
them. Yeah.
And this, yeah.
So Ashley, this does not sound like an easy role to take on. This sounds pretty. Did you have to go to dark places to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, was it challenging in ways that you didn't anticipate?
All of the above. I knew it was going to be a challenge, so it wasn't like I didn't go into it thinking like, oh, this will be a walk in the park. This is so easy. I wanted that challenge. I knew that it was like going to be this like incredible journey that I would go on, just like the character was going on with her. So definitely working with Matthew. Actually, he was very good at sort of provoking certain things out of me, taking me to kind of dark places that helped
That sounds
the scene.
terrifying.
It does sound kind of terrifying. But I appreciated that because of the nature of the character and what happens to her and where she needs to go.
Absolutely.
It was really, really helpful. Yeah, it was. We also shot the film in the dead of winter, so every day was
In
like
New York,
constantly
yeah.
cold.
Oh my God.
And most of the scenes were shot outside.
Oh jeez.
So
It
that
was
was
grueling,
the other
yeah.
challenging aspect of it. It was just brutal. There was one scene where I just had this simple phone call to make, but I had to have my
After
hand.
carving somebody up on a pier.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
wanted to.
You know, one of
As
those
one
normal
clarify.
days for
Yeah.
Julia. And it was, I don't know what the temperature was, but it was like below
No, it was
freezing.
retardedly cold.
And we
gosh.
were all like huddled in the van, like trying to keep warm. Well, they were actually still all outside trying to set up the shot. And I literally had to rush to the spot we were about to shoot. He had to call action, and I had to pretend like it was, 80 degrees out. I
Yeah.
couldn't stand there shivering. My mouth was numb. I had to like say a few words, and that was it. But it was like the most challenging aspect because my body was literally shaking. I had to like, I don't know, just be completely still and like
Go to a Zen place.
Yeah.
meditate or think of some tropical beach.
So like, what was more challenging? Because it sounds like there was. I was wondering, like, is there a big physical thing? But it sounds like there was a physical challenge there. But there's a lot of mental challenges, I'd imagine. What's
Yeah.
worse?
I don't know. I think it's different for different reasons. But mentally, I definitely had to go to certain places that I wouldn't really necessarily want to go in everyday life.
I don't think anybody wants to experience
No.
have to like.
But I knew it was for
have
the film, and
experience.
the character needed it.
So there was
and
always
I
a certain
wanted it.
ecstasy involved.
There is,
Yeah.
and that's the other part of it is like, I don't mind really going to those places because it's almost like, it's really difficult to explain actually, because sometimes I don't even know where I go or what I'm thinking about when I go there. So
Sure.
I'm always just like, I come out of it and like, just like this kind of ecstatic high from what we just shot, I'm just like, okay, now we can move on. As long as it felt good,
That's awesome.
so.
Feeling good about doing something pretty horrific at its heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Now, are you personally a big fan of revenge thrillers as well, or is that something that he imbued you with now that you've been in this
He
film?
definitely, inspired me to, and showed me a lot of films in preparation for the role.
But most of the things I showed you had like almost nothing, very little to do with that kind of story world.
Yeah, I
mean-
wasn't a big fan of like rape revenge.
I
Genre
didn't even know that genre existed.
Me
Rape
neither.
Yeah.
revenge.
Yeah, I discovered that
Rape revenge is a
after
thing.
after the fact.
Huh.
Because for me this was a story about this woman awakening, to her dark fate, and then suddenly when we started to go to, because we went to, like, we've done over like 30 festivals, and so all the reviews started to come out, and they were referencing films that I just hadn't seen, because all my references were more like, like David Fincher, Michael Mann, and Tony Scott, like True Romance, and then these Asian kind of revenge thriller horrors. So it was a trip to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, do you? I may push some buttons here. This is a controversial topic. Do you feel like rape revenge or revenge thriller type movies are appealing more to men and like the salacious recesses of their mind, or to women who may have gone to dark places and like to see certain things,
Take control.
To- yeah,
back
like-
and,
I mean,
empower
Exactly.
them.
we've seen like, I don't know, we've seen both. We've had responses from people like women who are completely see how this journey of empowerment and respond to that, and and then there's others who just can't stomach it and think it's just, I don't know what, like, just it's taboo. I don't know what they think.
Did you have an audience in mind when you made it? Like, did you feel like you were gearing it more towards a female or a male audience?
No, I definitely, the whole like question of gender wasn't something that I thought about at all.
Gotcha.
It was more just like telling the story in a way that was just true to the story and to the vision, and and just going all in, really. I mean, what I most wanted to do was deliver this brutal but also ecstatic experience that when people see it, they just literally are like, I wanted to like excite the viewer more than anything.
Gotcha.
And that's generally what I like to do. I like to also, as a viewer, I like to go there and be riveted by, just the cinematic moments that are created. I think people can go much further with what's out there right now. There's a lot of very safe kind of filmmaking going on, and
But even outside of like a gender, like a man or a woman, like the audience, is there something it sounds like, because I haven't seen the full movie, obviously.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's something for even just the horror fan who likes blood and guts.
Yeah, and that,
Like,
and that
it's
was
just, I don't
yeah.
know,
There is
because there's
that.
people who are
Yeah.
just like,
You love
I don't
that, I
care
know.
about that or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how deep this guy is.
Yeah.
Chop that guy's tongue out. Like, that's
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
Does it look good?
No,
Yeah.
but
There
I
is
mean
an audience.
that was a big thing because I knew you know that it was also a horror, like it's a thriller horror, you know, and so I knew. And I wanted to give that audience what they would want, you know. So there's certain graphic elements in the film that are consciously in there. Like I could have shot it, I could have not showed those things. I mean, like one little thing that's in there, which we actually shot, like in reality. There's some.
Tom is envious of her hat.
This,
Our Tom.
Pretty spectacular hat.
it is a cool hat.
Yep.
There's some stuff. There's some. She's an assistant to a plastic surgeon in the film, and so she's carrying out these operations. So you actually see like real plastic surgery operations with like needles going through like skin and
Which is actually
things
worse.
being extracted.
That's like worse for me than the tongue.
I think it's worse for a lot of people because it's like visceral
Yeah,
and
for
real.
me
and you're
watching
just
that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. Like the worst horror movie for me to watch, and maybe it's just traumatic. I don't remember any trauma. Is The Dentist, and then
The-
with,
Oh.
where
I never saw that, but it sounds
Someone
traumatic.
mentioned it to me recently.
it's got
actually.
like 6 parts in it, right?
Okay.
Like there's a ton of them, but it's the dentist, and basically he gets angry and he has rage problems, and then he takes out his rage problems on people's mouths.
Really?
Like he gets mad if for somebody who's not brushing.
and
you
it's
know?
a
It's
movie.
a horror movie.
Oh, it's
Really?
awful.
And he'll put something to spread your gums or your mouth, but then he just keeps cranking it, and then
Oh
the
my
sound
God,
effects play.
That's
and
horrible.
He's like cracks somebody's jaw open, and they have these really close-ups. I guess they built models of mouths really big, and so when they filmed it, like so you can see the detail.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's like a drill, even though the drill's only this
Can't
big.
stand
The way it's
that.
Good
filmed,
Lord.
it's
So like the
this big.
POV from inside
Yeah,
the mouth
yeah,
and the
yeah.
drill's coming in.
And he
Nick.
misses with the drill.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
Wait, you're
Oh.
not gonna be able to handle Julia. If you
I,
can't
I
handle that.
really
Come on.
don't know if I can. I'm very squeamish.
No, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. That is the
I
truth.
like that you were
Yeah.
honest. Because you could have lied to me. I would have been like, oh, cool. And then I'd watch it and be
No.
like, hey, Matthew A. Brown, that was not nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like the dentist, it doesn't hold up very well.
Yeah, I
it's
don't
the
know.
80s, you know.
Okay.
So for those of you interested, it's okay, Neo. You don't have to ban Oddball. It's all good. He was wondering why this is on a gaming channel. Well, we are playing a little bit of GTA 5, but the real reason why we're having this is to welcome our guests here, who are respectively Matthew, who is the director and writer of Julia, and Ashley C. Williams, who's the star. It's a horror feature that's hitting theaters tomorrow, and they may pick up the controller at some point, and they may not. It's cool. We're just hanging out with them.
You'd have to
and in
wrestle
the
it
meantime,
from me.
and if you at home are more interested in GTA 5, then that's happening over there, courtesy
That's
of
what
Nick.
happened last time we had a guest. I was playing Mad Max, and there were comments about how I couldn't fight in the game. And
You
I'm
really
like, there's like interesting conversation happening over here.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, you suck at fighting. And I was like, the guy in the glasses, that's what it was. The guy in the glasses sucks.
Really?
And I was like, listen, we're giving you, I think we are actually responsible for the gaming talk show
We are.
format
We are
on Twitch.
actually
Twitch,
responsible for
before
it.
Twin Galaxies happened, there was no gaming talk show format on Twitch.
Wow.
And so
It was just video
you would
gaming.
have to be playing a game in order to be on Twitch. But we want to, satisfy the Twitch viewers. So if they came here to watch games, they get to watch games, or they came here to listen and ask questions.
They have conversation going on in the background that may interest them. Like
Yeah.
Julia is a very, very edgy film from everything I've seen on the internet. The fact that it's hitting theaters tomorrow in select theaters in Los Angeles and Chicago, and the fact that you have the key creatives here, it's kind of a big deal. It's pretty cool. Dota Barry has the right idea. Wants to know, would you say the movie's more thriller or horror?
Definitely more of a thriller. Yeah, no question. The only reason it's a horror is kind of because just by virtue of what happens in the story, it falls into this subgenre of horror, of revenge. But it's a very stylized film. If anything, it's closer to a film like Drive
Cool.
than like a traditional kind of horror film. Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
cool. Now, Ashley, how does this role stack up against, say, just more tame, dramatic roles that are, more maybe dialogue based or not as emotionally intense? Like, which do you find more challenging, and which do you find more enjoyable? Because this will obviously take you to new heights.
I think it's funny that the two films that I've kind of been cast in that have been successful, I haven't had a lot of dialogue in the films. I personally prefer it that way. I think that more, less is more.
Cool.
And I actually can't remember if I've ever did. I'm a theater actor, so like I've definitely done a lot of like stage plays where very, very heavily dialogue driven. And I think both are amazing for different reasons. I think emotionally, there's so much more that you can express without having to say anything, which I think I prefer. I think I like that. It's challenging. It's
Right,
definitely
absolutely.
challenging.
It's visceral.
Yeah.
And from a filmmaker's perspective, way more, it's got broader appeal across like, different territories and stuff, because, people of any language can certainly identify with intense emotion, especially in situations that are like this. Can we get a check on Ashley's audio, Doc? We're getting some notes about audio.
It could be because it's over here.
Oh yeah, maybe if we do a quick adjustment to the
He
center.
told me, well, the center, he said it was too low, but maybe if I put my shirt up.
Huh.
I'm not sure.
It's live, guys. I wanted to welcome some of our new viewers here.
Hello,
Hi, this light, it's right in the middle of the chat.
Listen, okay, I put
Small
that light up.
gaming.
When I put that light up, I wasn't thinking about being able to read.
What happened?
King Lane.
Oh, Drive made me hate Ryan Gosling. Will this make me hate Ashley C. Williams?
and then he puts a little sleepy face.
No,
he
no,
knows
she,
he's
she
joking.
does too
He
many
knows he's joking.
wonderful things in the movie.
I like.
I actually liked Ryan's performance, and it was subtle. It was very similar to Julia's character as well, actually, and we got that kind of comparison before.
Yeah, but a very big difference though is in Drive, Ryan Gosling's character, he's like that one note the whole film. Yes, he gets more emotional in places, but he doesn't transform as a character at all.
His decisions kind of dictate his state, but he's just like the same.
Yeah.
But he's just, I'm gonna do the good thing now.
Yeah, he is who he is from beginning to end. And in this film, like who she is at the beginning of the film is, you wouldn't recognize her in the street if you saw the two characters standing next to each other. You just wouldn't. Because in the beginning, she's this like nerdy, mousy like creature hiding from the world, and in the end, she's like this flowing. Like I always had the idea of the Siamese fighting fish.
Oh yeah, the beta fish.
The beta
Yeah.
fish, the beta fish. Yeah. So she becomes this like beta fish. She's just all power and just beauty, and so very different.
How is the foreign release? Because we do have people watching around the world. What is when and where?
How
So,
what?
foreign
overseas,
release.
like European or
We've
any other
actually,
countries.
I know that we're coming out, we've sold to like a lot of places, so I know like all over Asia, so like Korea, Taiwan, Japan, and in some places we've already been released, in some cases theater, in cinemas, in some it's just been VOD, Blu-ray.
It just came out in the UK just
like
last
in the UK
month.
it's online VOD, in Germany it's on Blu-ray, and I think VOD as well, and then like in China VOD, and Japan I think it had a small theatrical run. We came out in Pakistan. I think
That's
we were
cool.
in theaters in Pakistan.
Oh,
That was like what I was really hoping for.
yeah, the
when
Pakistani
when
market. That's
Yeah.
where all
I was
the
like, this is
where all the
like,
money comes in.
exactly.
I did see if
Pakistani
you
market.
go on Amazon UK, you can pick up the Blu-ray.
Exactly.
I would not recommend importing that, everybody, because I imported Bubba Hotep, and then I realized it wasn't region free, and I was like, damn it, I wasted
Yeah, you
my
got to
30
have a
bucks.
multi-regional. Yeah.
Yeah, which then gets expensive. So
They
you guys
added-
can see it though in theaters.
For the UK title, they actually added, so it's Julia, Angel of Vengeance.
Sure,
Which
why
is kinda
not?
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
And in Germany, it was like, it's Julia Blutige Rache, which is like Julia Bloody Revenge.
Huh.
It's like just making it clear in case people didn't get it, from the
Absolutely.
trailer.
In case you were too lazy to turn over the back. turn over the Blu-ray and look at the back.
And read what the description is, which is like 2
And it needs
sentences.
to be spelled out for them.
Hello,
Yeah.
that kid, Trupano.
Oh.
You're hanging out with Matthew A. Brown and Ashley C. Williams. I would
Julia.
told myself I wouldn't do
We
that.
don't want.
have
I
to
would
it
not
or-
want to be around Julia.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Not after
You
the
might not be safe.
transition.
You might be safe, but
They are the key creatives behind Julia. There we go, a horror feature that is in select theaters tomorrow in the United States, in California, and in Chicago. Or is it Los Angeles specific, or just?
No, it's also like some theaters like in Orange County, so it's
Cool.
actually California, and then in Chicago, in Illinois, I think it's specifically around Chicago.
Cool.
Yeah, for now.
Smalley Gaming wants to know, is the movie in Ireland? Do you know if you're hitting up Ireland?
Well, it's come out in the UK.
yeah, I don't think people in Ireland. I've heard that they don't like to be considered.
No, no,
part
no,
of
and
the
I-
UK.
and I'm-
But
and I-
UK
and I-
does count. It does
Yeah, no,
count
but I
as an
think I'm not sure if the UK distributor is if it's like connected to Ireland as well.
Ah.
So
Interesting.
where are they looking at us actually? Is it
Oh, we have
It's
a
this
full
camera
camera
right
over
here.
here, but then
Okay,
you guys have
either
your
one.
own camera right
okay?
here.
Yeah, because I keep kind of like looking at all the
Oh,
different
yeah,
screens.
yeah.
Oh,
and-
trust me, it happens a lot. I have a
Okay.
show in the other room, and I'm looking at 6 different screens at any given time.
Okay.
And it's just how Twitch is. You
Yeah.
know, people
Okay,
are
no,
used
it's good
to
to
this
know that
format.
this camera is the.
Yeah, that's your 2-shot. So that's
Okay.
gonna be close, but you don't have to feel necessarily, obligated to look directly
Yeah.
into the camera unless you want to. Looks like we have somebody asking about the Netherlands as well. I don't know if it's out here in the Netherlands.
No, we did do a festival in Holland. I think it's we were in the underground section in a festival that I think is like I think it's called BATF, like B-movie underground trash film festival.
Oh gosh.
And when they contact, we'd already done about like 20 or so festivals, and they reached out to me and they were like, and I saw the name of the festival and I was like, listen, I'm not so sure about that. And then I saw the sections and so I spoke to the guy. I was like, look, I'll only do it if we're in the underground section. And they said, yeah, no, that's the section you'd be in.
Not in the trash
Not the
section.
trash
or
section.
Trash, no.
The recyclable section.
Exactly.
No,
Garbage
B-movie
section.
and trash, no.
Well, do you, is your sensibility about this that this film is like an elevated, like you don't see it as a B movie, you see it as more
No,
like
it's
a,
definitely
elevated
falls
genre.
into this whole thing of like elevated genre stuff, so like smart horror.
Cool.
Definitely, and that's kind of connected to the aesthetic, the approach, the directorial approach, and also because the story essentially is outside the picture. It's about this woman awakening, whereas most of these films are just what you see is what you get.
Sure.
Whenever you focus so much, I've noticed in horror, I don't want to say like I'm a connoisseur, but I watch it and I like it a lot. It bugs me when I don't want to say like low budget movies, but movies that clearly had like $1 million and their main focus is the gore, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
you shouldn't do that because you couldn't
No.
put any money into it.
Exactly.
You
yeah.
wanted to do a genre you didn't
I
have
have
money
a cool
to do.
story though. Yeah.
Ooh, do tell.
Because so you guys, I mean, yeah, I can speak openly. So I mean, there's a very graphic scene in the film, and interestingly, like the film that's coming out in theaters in the States, it's the R-rated version of the film. And initially the MPAA gave us an NC-17 rating,
Oh, gosh.
so we had to go back and cut some things out, which I'm actually happy with at the end of the day, because it's now closer to my original vision, which was more always to be more focused on the emotion and on the character.
Cool.
But there's a scene in the film where she castrates someone,
Oh,
and
as one
with,
does.
with a lot of help from this like cult, and I, even in the script, I'd said camera remains on the woman's face. There's a woman who's actually helping her, remains on their face, and it's very stylized, very beautiful, very dark, kind of neon noir lighting schemes. And but what happened was when we went to our special effects guy's place in New York, we were talking through all the special effects shots, and we didn't bring that shot up because in the script I'd said, camera remains on their faces while the cutting is happening, because I didn't want to see a dick getting cut on screen. It's just like not what I'm interested in, as a
lot of
filmmaker
people-
or
It's what
human
Nick's
being.
interested in.
Yeah, but I don't want
Nick
to see
loves
him.
that stuff.
I want to see them on
I
screen.
got a
but I
feeling
don't
that
wanna
he likes that kind of thing. when I first
I
saw
just
it.
want
talking
to see
about
them
dicks
on
getting
screen,
cut off. He's
but
just-
it's not
Penises.
getting cut. Not getting cut.
So what happened was we're in his name's Brian Spears, our special effects guy, and we're in his place. We talked through all the different shots, like eyeballs being removed, heads getting done. And And then at the end of it, we're done. Like I looked, my cinematographer was with me and my production designer, and we were like, okay, cool. And then he goes, oh, and I know it said it was off screen in the script, but in case, I've got a couple of extra penises laying around in case you want to like show this, So I look at my and he busts out these massive like members,
Oh my
these rubber
God.
members, and he starts like bending them, and it was like
Just
this guy-
lying
it was,
around, eh? Just
it was
in
it was a
sound.
beautiful moment. So I looked at my cinematographer, and we're like, okay, we have to shoot this. And then it ended up like when we did the edit, it ended up playing well, but I thought I was going to get a lot of like backlash from the shot in there, and I was kind of waiting for it, like from our sales reps and the distributor and everything. But nobody said anything until, thankfully, actually, the MPA did say something, because I was desensitized to it. But another kind of cool moment on set, one of our actresses, she she saw these like these penises, and she came up to me quietly and said, "Do you think like when we're done with them that I could maybe have one?"
I was gonna ask.
And she was like, I was like, yeah, you should, I'm sure Brian wouldn't have a problem with it. He's like, well, would you mind asking him for me? And I was like, he won't have a problem, just talk to him. He was there at the time. And he's like, no, you can have it and everything, And then she's like, well, would you mind signing it? And he's like, he goes, well, I'm not going to sign a penis,
That
And then-
offended him. That was where it was too far.
The line.
and then, yeah, but then I looked, I was like, Brian, what are you talking about? He's like, well, it's not like I haven't signed a penis before. Anyway, so I think like behind the scenes he signed the penis, and then she was talking about like, yeah, we're gonna go out to a bar one night, and I'm just gonna let it like drop out of my bag when I'm like leaving. Anyway,
I was gonna
So that was
say.
pretty
I was gonna ask about if all penises were accounted for.
yeah,
Do
there
you
were,
have a guy,
at the
like,
end of
counting
filming, but it seems that
penises?
people had no problem
yeah.
asking for them. They were just
no,
like,
there were actually only two, so we had to get the shot right.
Gosh.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's-
yeah.
So Extrasec says that pretty smile. So there you
Yeah.
go. You have some nice.
thanks.
That's
Okay.
nice. That's something nice.
I know. I like when
Yeah,
people
Yeah.
compliment me on here. It doesn't happen very often.
That's awesome. Have you seen, as an aside, have you seen? I think it's the second Hostel that culminates in like a penis getting cut off with like some garden shears.
No, really.
Yeah, it's the.
I've only seen the first one.
I was
Yeah.
I wondered about, because that was rated R, and so I was shocked when that happened because it's an extreme close-up, and it's not a cutaway, like they just she doesn't get it all in one clip. Anyway.
It's a weird thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a strange thing though, because a lot of people I discussed with when I was going through the whole like MPAA thing, they referenced this documentary which I haven't seen, which is about I don't know what it's called, but it's something to do with how films get their ratings. And one of the key points that people took away from the film was that you can never look to another film as a reference for like what rating you get, because it's all about context and and I think in the States especially, I think like when you're combining sex and violence, it's like the most sort of taboo thing here. So
Yes.
that was the big the red flag I think for them. So we had to tone down a specific scene, but like I said, I stand by the film that's coming out here, and it's ironic because all over the place, everywhere else, film festivals, like all the places we're being released, it's the other cut of the film.
The other cut.
The other cut.
Oh.
That's why I'm here usually.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they keep me around.
I'm going to extend hi for
To do what?
Baphomet. I'm going to extend this question from, is it Jonesified? I have to.
Jonesified.
There's literally a light.
You can get it right here.
Right in front.
too.
Oh,
You
great.
can get it right here.
Jonesified Gaming says, any movies that have inspired you? I'll pose this question to both of you guys. As an actress, any actresses, any performances that inspired you, and any horror films or other films in this genre that have inspired you?
Here you go.
Oh, it's a tough question because there's a lot that has inspired me. I will, however, say the one film that got me into acting in the first place, or that made me want to become a film actress, was the movie Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
I started to become really obsessed with Vivian Leigh and wanted to be her and be a movie star, and especially the character that she plays in that movie. I know it's like such a classic, but I was just like so inspired by the film as a whole, but also just how believably she played that character, and how like it just took me to this whole other place, and I wanted to be that character as well, and I was just like so in awe of it all, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to be able to play something so believable that like it takes someone to a whole another place.
Absolutely.
And inspire them, no doubt, and like leave them thinking or wanting to change their life somehow or whatever it is, because I know that that's what happens when I go see certain movies. So that definitely jump-started
Yeah.
what I do now. Yeah.
And she's very. So, how old were you when you watched that film?
I must have been like 14, 15,
Okay,
something
cool.
like that. Yeah.
And did you already? This coming from a guy, this would sound like a come on, but I'm going to say it, and I'm a girl, and it's okay. Did you know then that you were going to be so attractive, like attractive enough to actually make it as an actress? You know what I mean? Like, I know when I was like 14, I had braces. I would not have like, I'd be like, that door is closed. But did you know then, like, I've got this asset, I'm going to enhance it with acting skills and become an actress?
Well, there were some people, particularly in my immediate family, who would like give me really
course.
nice compliments and like say, "Oh my God, you look so much like Vivian Lee." I actually grew up with black hair, and my eyes were green, and I would sometimes like dress up like in 1940s type clothes, and they would be like, "Oh my God, like you could so be Vivian Lee." And I think that definitely put something in me, like, "Oh my God, like I could do this."
It's tested.
This is
There's no reason not to do it.
I know. So for sure, like those compliments definitely helped. And the more like I started getting cast in more roles, like I was more focused on like wanting to, really hone in on my my natural talent and techniques that I use, and have that be sort of what I focus on instead of my looks. And those usually always came like last. And I started like plucking my eyebrows at age 14. Was like, I have to get them so thin. Like that was the thing in the 90s, where everyone wanted like really thin eyebrows, and that was like really the focus.
And did you know the specific look you wanted for your lead? Like, did you want somebody very attractive? Were you thinking you wanted somebody mousy looking? Like, what in your head did the character look like? Did she?
I mean, I had
end
to
up
have
being exactly
someone.
that?
I had to have someone who could do both in a very believable way. Be that sort of mousy character, when they've got no makeup and kind of big frames, and then they also had to be able to. It was almost even more. Well, it was definitely more important that they could embody that like angel of vengeance kind of character.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I want to get your answer as well, but just before, I don't want to miss this question, just because I know people here generally like games. Do either of you have any games on your phone that you play?
Not like these kinds of games. I have
Like Candy Crush or something?
I don't have Candy Crush. I have Solitaire and Yahtzee.
Like classic.
I have this
games,
awesome
like
solitaire
boring.
on my phone. It's got like
Oh, yeah.
star fields for backgrounds, and it's super quick. And
Yeah.
It's amazing, but it's just regular solitaire.
No,
But Grand Theft Auto
I-
is on the phone now.
I
too.
have to say that the problem for me with gaming now is that the second I sit down and start playing, like I would just get nothing done
Yep.
if
yep.
I did that, because
They're so immersive.
I was.
and
That's
engaging
all I
now.
did. Like when I was a kid, I surfed and I played games, and that's it. And so I'd literally play some games. I'd be in like 6 hours, like in a video shop on one game in one of those gaming shops. And so now
The
I mean,
arcade.
yeah,
for
in an
you
arcade.
guys
Yeah, exactly.
for you Californians, the arcade.
So
They're like the game. They don't
so
let
now
you play
not as
games
much.
at the
Yeah.
shop.
Huh. Hey, Gaming Dragon, welcome. Hello, Lenny Lando. What goes on here is we have special guests, we have playthroughs, we have just about anything. We have professional video gaming teams go head to head with other people here. It's a big grab bag of awesome stuff. And right now, what you're looking at in particular is we're sitting down with Matthew A. Brown and Ashley C. Williams, who are respectively the director, writer, and the star of Julia, a new horror film. I'm sorry, not a horror film necessarily, a
Thriller.
revenge thriller that's coming out in select theaters tomorrow across California and in Chicago, and they're here live answering your questions, telling you more about the film. So that's what you've tuned into.
See, I told you they would comment on my gameplay, and they did.
I saw
They
that.
did, I saw
He's
that
like,
as well.
this
Can you
guy's
do something interesting, please?
trying to play the game
But I
as
did
if it
notice
was
you
real
driving
life.
super slowly.
Because I'm reading and I'm driving.
Okay.
Like I'm making sure I
Oh, that's funny. You're reading and driving.
Yeah.
It's like
You're
you
gonna
know,
crash, man.
Yeah, it's
I've only crashed like twice. I'm pretty good at like
Yeah,
just
you've got to
playing
step
off
it
the
up, though. I
screen.
agree.
I have this
Is
really
this-
weird thing with Grand
Is
Theft
that
Auto.
where is that in the background?
That's downtown LA.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought I recognized
pretty
it.
rad.
I have a really like weird thing with Grand Theft Auto where I like to play, like to just drive and not kill people and not hit cars.
I think if I got on there, I would start taking people down.
And that's it. See what happens when you kill somebody? The cops come after you. And
Oh,
then,
that's cool though.
And then the more stars, then they kill you, and then you lose all your money and your guns and stuff.
Yeah, but
Are
the thing
these
is to
made up-
outwit the cops.
It's really hard.
You've got to outwit the cops.
Then the helicopters come, tanks come. This is on the phone now. Like that's how technology has advanced.
Yeah.
The first 3 Grand Theft Autos, and I believe the 4th one, are on the phone. Like
I wouldn't want to play this on the phone though. Like,
it's not as fun, obviously, and it doesn't look as good, but they're there and they're complete. And anything can be done on like a 6S or a 6 now. And
Lenny Lando, no, this is not previously recorded. I know the setup here looks like a straight interview, but it is live. You can ask questions. You can find out about Julia, which is the movie that we're talking about tonight.
somebody's asking about Netflix, but in that topic, outside of the theatrical release, the VOD release in the States, I believe you guys said was February.
yeah, it's February 2nd. It's coming out VOD online. I think Blu-ray, and so presumably, iTunes.
Yeah.
I think it's like iTunes and those kind of sites
Yeah,
first, and then Netflix a
Yeah,
bit
the
later.
rentals first,
Yeah.
and then that's how
Yeah.
everything is. Netflix
Yeah.
Netflix gets everything last, and
Yes.
that's how it should be, because that's how it seems.
I mean, it's amazing what just happened with Netflix with Beasts of No Nation. You know,
Oh.
Yeah.
have you heard? Because Netflix released Beasts of No Nation's the new Kerry Fukunaga film, and it was released literally on Netflix, streaming on Netflix. That was its debut,
Huh.
and then in select like art house theaters.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the mainstream cinemas wouldn't take it because of the fact that usually there's this 3-month kind of rule.
Yeah.
So like for us, for example, we can't go online legally until 3 months after our premiere.
Interesting.
One of the questions was, is the movie in theaters? Because people are bouncing in and out.
Yeah, no, that's
so
cool.
it sometimes will feel redundant, but
fine, yeah.
people are coming in and out, and it's in theaters.
Yeah, it's in select theaters tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yasha says, "Damn, Twitch actually works. I'm gonna go see the movie now."
Yeah, that's the same guy.
That's cool.
You've
yeah.
been marketed to.
That's great.
Guy who gets talks about my gameplay.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna give you free
going back
tickets.
to which movies inspired you?
I mean, so many, but the movie experience I'll never forget is the first Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Nice.
I was.
Wait, Star
I was,
Wars. What is that? Is
Yeah, I
that
know,
art,
right?
Some art house film?
No, that's
Star
that cartoon.
Wars?
That's that cartoon that I see.
Yeah. But I mean that
Disney.
everything came like super late to South Africa, so I can't, I was really, really young. I was too young to understand it, but I'll just never forget Darth Vader's voice.
Yeah.
And I remember going with my dad. I don't know how, I was like an infant, and that just stayed with me. And then later, so many different things. I've gone through all kinds of phases, but like filmmakers like David Fincher and Michael Mann and obviously Scorsese and those kinds of filmmakers. And then, of course, these like Asian influences like Ji-Woon Kim, who did a movie called I Saw the Devil. I don't know if you've heard of that. Oh, somebody responded?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, and that's really a revenge film with like a really strong kind of moral as well, just that revenge ultimately is futile. You just dig a deeper hole for yourself. Just it keeps changing. At one point, like Krzysztof Kieślowski, the Polish filmmaker, did films like Red, White and Blue with Juliette Binoche and very kind of more poetic art house kind of European cinema.
Nice.
And even John Cassavetes. John Cassavetes is what like launched me into making my first short film. I read a biography on him. It was Cassavetes on Cassavetes, and it was just so inspiring. Again, I was like, I think I was like 20 or 21, and I just went for it. Yeah.
Nice. I like this question from Dear Smoky One. It's about to disappear, but Dear Smoky One wants to know from the director and the
That's a
writer of the
great
film, by
question.
the way, is the movie any good?
I can guarantee you that it is a strong, strong, strong viewing experience.
Cool.
It will affect you whether you like it or not. It's very visually stunning. The music is unbelievable. And Ashley's performance is absolutely sensational. And you know, it's one of those films that you either love or hate because it's definitely strong it's strong visceral material. But I think just the kind of what's on display in terms of, you know, the vision and the acting and just, you know, the turns the story takes, I think you'll definitely appreciate it.
Very cool. Yes, I know what Star Wars is, guys. It's not real. I know what it is. Oh, good. Looks like someone's looked it up. Brandon says finally found it on IMDb. Yep, you look it up if you want to. Certainly, I'm sure you'll be able to dig up a lot of great information. I know the trailer's online, but we're going to also show it here in just a sec. So we have a question here for Ashley from Phoenix. Says, has Ashley made any other movies?
I think you should share with them some of your.
Sure, my
I agree.
resume. I was in a film called The Human Centipede.
Oh,
Is she
wait.
muted?
Let's check your mic pack here. Maybe there's a
Maybe I
battery
sat on
issue,
it.
perhaps. Can you take a look, see?
Oh yeah,
I'm
you're
back.
back.
Okay.
I was just leaning back, so it probably.
You can put
Funny,
on-
it was
you can
muted
put it
right
on the
at that
table.
point.
It's okay.
I have a
I don't know what
feeling-
that means.
I
Say
have
it again.
I have a feeling the chat's about to
This
blow
is
up.
gonna go
Yeah.
in the edit. This is it. Don't
Sorry,
worry.
guys.
This is all
To
pre-recorded.
answer your
anyway.
question, Phoenix, I was in a movie called The Human Centipede. I don't know if you've heard of that film.
It's a nature film.
It's a
Yeah.
nature
Yeah.
film.
It's a nature
Kids love it.
documentary.
I thought it was about. I thought it was about two best friends, a human
That's it.
centipede, and how they can get along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were
so
you one of the? I haven't seen it. I have to, ask for the
Yeah,
videos.
we're
but
actually
were
really
you-
bad horror people because I think you're supposed to see Human Centipede, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we apologize. We're
There's
the
a
I
lot
worst.
know,
of people who
okay,
have heard
Doc.
of it but haven't seen it. I know plethora of people who
Ashley
just,
had the honor of being the middle piece.
the
You were
middle
B?
piece.
The middle.
I was
Yeah,
B.
she had like
Oh my
shit
God!
coming in one end and going out the other.
I'm actually really nervous now because you're super famous. like,
Yeah, I played Lindsay. She's the one who tries to get away, and because she tries to escape, the doctor punishes her by putting her in the worst position ever, which is the middle.
oh my
She looks
gosh.
very, very different now, though. Like, just literally, she really actually
Yeah.
looks different.
Matthew
So
actually had to wanted me to dye my hair for the role of Julia. So before, like 2 years ago, my hair was all black and
yeah,
looked very different now.
How long ago was the Human Centipede?
That came out in theaters in 2010.
Wow, and
5
I
years
mean,
ago.
you are young as it is, so you were probably like a kid, like basically.
I was a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was
That's-
5
Did-
imagine
did
like
you
what that
know-
does to someone's psyche, you know?
Yeah. Did you know it was going to be such a phenomenon when you were casting?
No, none of us knew. I definitely was worried that it was going to be terrible, and of course, I took that risk, and I was like, okay, this could make or break my career, and fortunately, it made it. I don't know. I don't want to say I skyrocketed into the film business, but definitely started getting more offers for films, and it really opened a lot of doors for me. So.
That's
So
fascinating.
there's that, yeah.
And all you had to do is be sewed to somebody's ass.
Exactly.
Like, that's all you had to do for that. See, some people are born into fame, guys. Some people,
Are
you know,
sewn
they
into
get it all
fame.
given to them. They're like Colin Hanks or the kids of, but no,
Yeah.
you earned
And
it.
some literally have to suck ass.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Sorry, I
suck
had to go
ass.
there.
Hey,
I've heard
Capone,
worse.
Capone GTA killer. Somebody says, oh God, even South Park did a thing on
yeah.
the Human Centipede.
That's another thing. Like when South Park did a parody on it, we were like, okay, our film's made it.
Yeah, that's
like,
when you
yeah.
know.
That's when you know.
That's when you know. And they do it like so quick too.
It was an
I'm
entire.
sure-
It was the premiere episode of the season, and it
Mm-hmm.
was called The Human Centipede. And Kyle played me, which at first I was like, oh, they didn't draw me as like looking like me, but no, it's
They had the
Kyle
kids.
playing my character. I thought that was
Of the
cool.
4 kids, is that the best one that you would have thought to be you? I wouldn't want
It makes
Cartman to be
perfect
me.
sense because he's just kind of hanging there and he can't even touch the ground.
Oh gosh.
Oh, it was perfect. It was funny.
I want to ask you what the biggest challenges were with that film, but I just don't know if I'm ready to go there.
Yeah, Yasha, I think we agree that Human Centipede does have its spot in cinema history.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially for, and I think, some of it is timing, because social media era was like just about blowing up in 2010,
Yeah.
And so that's like a marker
And what
in the way
happened
movies are
was
shared.
They released a 48-second clip from the film on the internet, and it blew up, and people were like, "What the fuck is this?" And that's when it was first released at Fantastic Fest, which is this crazy cool film festival in Austin, Texas, and it had its U.S. premiere there, and so everybody just flocked to that cinema to see it because of this one clip that had gone viral.
Interesting.
So that really helped the film, of course, but yeah, it's.
Did you know? My God, there's so many. We won't hover in the Human Centipede realm for too long. But did you know when you auditioned for the part, what the role entailed? Like, because sometimes they'll give you a character breakdown. You go and you read for it, right? And they'll say you're like a strong, independent person who gets in a bad situation, has to be pretty and know how to, whatever. But did the actual, when you auditioned for it, did it say did you get the disclaimer, must be okay with the idea that at some point you may get sewn to another man's ass?
It didn't read like that. Obviously, as an actress, I know that everything that I do is not real. It's fake, and there's ways around not
I would hope.
showing certain
I would hope
things
so.
and, but the thought did cross my mind at one point when Ashlyn and I, the other actress who was hired as the best friends in the film, we were flown to Amsterdam, and nobody was there to pick us up at the airport. We were we were already thinking God, we hope this is legit. We knew, we asked a lot of questions, we had signed contracts, we had a lawyer, everything was good and safe. But it's still the back of our minds, we were like, okay, what are we getting ourselves into? Is this something we really want to do? And then nobody was there at the airport to pick us up, and we were starting to freak out.
It's a little scary.
Is this a test? Are they filming us from behind bushes? Our
Very
experience.
easy, for the premise to be
Yeah,
some sort of gotcha.
Yeah. So that was kind of.
But everything was cool on set, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, everything was great.
Because you look at that situation as a viewer, and you're like, how did they film that?
I know, they're like, were you really sewn to his ass? And I'm like, yes, I was
Was it
actually.
suction cup?
Do you see the scars?
It's
or
people are
documentary.
their method, and I made them do it.
It's a documentary.
The number one question I usually get is, did you guys clean yourselves before you did the scene? Did you shower? Did you make sure the person in front of you showered? Were you worried about them farting in your face? And it's so funny because
The farting's a legitimate concern, though.
it wasn't to me. I mean, maybe to you, it would have been a concern, but I didn't think about that. I just didn't. We were only in that position for no more than 5 minutes at a time. And there's layers and layers of material between his ass and my mouth. And there was also this doorknob that we would bite down onto. So we weren't even really.
I didn't know any of that.
You didn't know it was a doorknob shape, but miniature.
Because you need something to
To bite on, to
that
yeah,
conjures up
to
keep you guys looking.
That conjures up certain images.
I know. I know
where's the
from
other side?
experience.
Never mind. I know. Oh my God. Are you?
There's a good question up there from Matthew.
Player says this girl is too hot. Let's see what the question
hot.
was. You're too hot. You've reached critical hotness.
Get off the floor.
That's nice.
To Matt, all of your movies seem dark. Any plans on making comedy or something light?
I'm not, the only kind of comedy that's interesting to me really is darker comedy. But I mean, most of my stuff is all the stuff I've got going on now that's in the works. None of it's really horror. It's I have two gangster films actually, crime films. One of them it's a World War II war horror. One's a very kind of graphic manga style Yakuza film.
Cool. Very cool.
So I can't really see myself making an out and out comedy or romantic comedy. That's
can't see
just
that
not going to
Not
happen.
even for $10 million. No, I don't know.
I mean,
Could
maybe,
you be coaxed into doing something outside of your comfort zone or
Maybe a dark
interests
comedy.
I think if I love the material and I see the potential in the material to like to push the aesthetic, you know, to take some risks visually and really aesthetically, then I would go for something. You know, it's really just about a gut thing. It's not like, oh, I would never do this or never do that. I mean, if you'd asked me like 2-3 years ago, would you make a horror movie? I'd probably have said absolutely not. So it's not about that. It's more like, you know, everybody you talk to, like when you're kind of on the ground, you know, people in the film industry, everybody's talking about what a miracle it is that a feature film actually gets off the ground each time a film actually gets made. So you have to kind of remain open to sort of what the universe is bringing to you, and you know, it's like, and even after Julia, I was like, I'm definitely not going to do a horror movie as my next film, but there is one film that's kind of potentially lining up that, you know, it is a horror as well. It's a war film. It's a World War II, but
So Lenny Londo wants you to know that you, not you, that Ashley is his WCW.
What is that?
Woman Crush Wednesday.
Is
But
it
it's
Wednesday?
it's an Instagram thing, and Neo already let them know that it's not Wednesday. You know, you have to wait.
all right, it's
okay.
Thursday.
You have to wait
We have
6
to wait till
days.
next Wednesday.
I usually post pictures of old wrestlers for WCW.
Can she be the
but
crush
that's
for the whole
because
week?
it's on the door.
Yeah, it should be
W.
WCW whole week.
W.
WCW.
Women Crush Week. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys are interesting. They're let's see. It's scrolling.
It's so fast, you guys. If we don't get your questions, feel free to
Oh,
re-
one
Oh,
question was
there's-
about from Brando. Have you been interested? I'll try to paraphrase this question. I'm actually making the question longer right now by talking more. Are you interested in animation or video game acting?
Who's
Me?
asking?
For me?
Brando is
No,
asking
no.
Ashley.
Okay.
Oh, yes, for sure. I would love to like voice some cool kick-ass video game character, or be modeled off of one. Yeah, for sure. Animation, yeah. Somebody approached me about that a little bit ago, about wanting to make a character for, not a comic book.
Oh, just like a week ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like, they just wanted my look
Basic-
to.
Yeah,
not a
to be
comic
like a
book.
model for like a character in an animation, I think.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah,
cool.
totally. I would love that.
Gosh, there's so many things.
Dear
that we
Smokey
missed.
wants to know: did you go to sleep and dream about Julia the movie, or how did it come up?
Is that for me?
That is
Yep,
for you.
yep.
Well, it was based on a short film that I'd done, and it came from a very kind of dark place. I was living in Berlin at the time, feeling kind of isolated, and right around that time, I'd had two features that came very close to going. One of them was literally like a month from shooting, and the financing fell out because of all this corruption. It was mainly getting funded out of from the South African broadcaster, the main South African broadcaster. I'm from South Africa,
Cool.
and the short film just kind of came out of me in this rush. Like I actually wrote it in one sitting, like in an hour, and I had to get on the set because I just hadn't been on set for a couple of years, and I shot this thing, and lo and behold, like it ends up becoming my first feature film.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You just had
That's
the itch. You're like,
truly
I
the
have to
dream.
get on set, and you were getting teased about getting onto set, and then it's like, no, you know what? We're not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was a full-on time, and I just went for it, and it definitely. I actually made another short film after that as well, like literally while I was still editing the short that Julia's based on, which is called Victim. I made another one, which was it was like a kind of a beautiful but disturbing fairy tale about these two kids. Yeah.
Huh. Can people see that?
Crush
Yeah.
or Victim?
Crush.
Well, my latest short was Crush, and that I shot in like 2011, and it's actually available on iTunes. Yeah.
There you go.
Victim's available now because it's in some of the countries that we've sold to. They've on the like extras for Blu-ray allowed them to include it,
Cool.
but it's not something I really stand by anymore. It was something I just had to do, and you know I
Interesting.
didn't have like the. I was still evolving as a filmmaker, so I wouldn't show it to people. I mean, but a lot of people do like the film. I mean, it led to Julia getting made, so, but I'm not comfortable showing it.
Gotcha. Well, it served a great purpose.
Yeah.
Which is to be the conduit through which this ended up happening. Also, Ashley is hot. Just saying. There you go.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a JS.
Says, yeah, just saying.
See, I learned things.
Somebody,
things.
somebody had suggested. Have you ever played LA Noire?
I haven't.
It's a really cool. It's in the vein of GTA 5. They recreate LA, but like
In the 50s.
in the 50s, in the 40s.
40s?
40s.
Probably 40s. The
You probably know
Hollywood
better
land.
than we would.
For
Just
noir.
When,
that be
when,
40s,
when the
30s, and
Hollywood
40s?
land sign was
Yeah,
still
I
around.
think it's 40s, 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
What was great about that game was it was very revolutionary in its facial capture. So they got real
Oh.
actors and like modeled their faces so that the actual performances,
Wow.
the subtlety of the performances were captured in the game, and it was a critical part of the game because what we were saying earlier about how immersive like games tend to be and how much they suck you in. A critical part of the game was you had to interrogate people and kind of read their micro expressions to figure out whether or not they were lying to
Oh,
you.
wow, that's amazing.
Which is why the facial capture aspect of the actors that they cast for it was so important.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah,
So
so
you
you
have
really get
real
drawn
actors.
into the game, yeah.
Yeah,
and
you're,
real
you're
actors who are
looking
really
at,
acting.
like these faces. Like you're really studying them to learn
Yeah.
how it's
That
normal
sounds
and then
brilliant.
what the ticks
Wow,
are.
yeah.
It's
Tiny
an
little
interesting gameplay mechanic. Because in the end,
moments. Yeah.
it's that kind of stuff that like, it seems like a gimmick, but I actually haven't seen anybody do it since. You'll find the opposite of that in Until Dawn, and you'll find funny mouths and things like that.
Yeah, just
Nowadays,
weird-
like when you're in a
weirdness.
game, like if you're gonna agree to be a part of a game, like you're agreeing that you're gonna basically let people manipulate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, with like the way the graphics are, you're not just a
kinda cool,
voice
though.
anymore.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
almost immortalized, like,
Yeah.
digitally. Like I'm always gonna be able to go back and do this part, and you can do it different every time. That's why I think it's cool that actors are in the games, and it's not just like voice actors and stuff. Like it's cool to see
Yeah.
somebody you recognize, and then have a
Absolutely.
comparison.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't know, I like Call of Duty games and stuff like that. And they use actors like John Malkovich, and you're shooting zombies with John Malkovich. It's pretty cool.
Or Kevin Spacey and
Yeah,
Call
Kevin
of Duty.
Spacey. You don't get to play as him, but I wanted to so bad.
Terrible Animal here had a question. Sorry, I just scrolled past Terrible Animal, but I think the gist of it was for Ashley, does acting in gross or gory films desensitize you to the genre? Like, do you find yourself able to watch those films easier now? Did you ever have a problem?
Gory and gross. I mean, I think I usually have said that I probably wouldn't watch a movie like The Human Centipede if I wasn't in it. I think that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. When I watch horror movies, I really am attracted to like ghost stories or like paranormal stuff, things that like you can't see, and I like getting scared. I don't really like kind of gross things, but if there's little clips here and there, like in Julia or like in Human Centipede, of like things that are just, just little bits here and there, I definitely like have a reaction. I'm not kind of numb to it all now, or like I don't,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I find that to be an interesting question because I think because I've heard that question posed to people who've made horror or in horror specifically because they think that if you see how the sausage is made in
Yeah.
a way that like you watch a horror film afterwards
no,
and you're like,
that's-
oh, that's corn syrup, oh, that's prosthetic, does that actually affect your viewing? And this is relevant to you as a
Yeah.
filmmaker too. Like, are you still able to enjoy?
Well, I will say that when I do watch movies where there's like blood, I know what good blood looks like. Like,
You're a blood connoisseur.
no,
of sorts.
it's true though, because if I see a horror film where there's like blood that's just really unrealistic, it will turn me off from the scene and get me into like the whole technical aspect of it. Like, well, okay, they clearly didn't have a very good effects team.
It's like water with
Yeah.
like, food coloring.
Or
in
there's
it.
like bubbles and you're just kind of like, "Ugh."
Everybody's getting hungry in the chat.
Really?
Yeah, which is odd because I mean
Usually the
sausage
yeah.
set it off, and then
And it's because everyone keeps saying grill.
yeah, they
instead
keep
of
talking about
girl.
grills.
So now we have grilled sausages.
yeah, now we have grilled sausage and then food coloring. So there's like 5 people who said stop talking about grills.
Well, Vocalist has a question. We will ask it, but we certainly want to get Matthew's response to it too. Like, is it easy to detach yourself from the actual filmmaker's eye when you're watching a horror film?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm watching films on like several levels, but I mean, if there's something off with the filmmaking, I have a very visceral reaction to things when I get the feeling that the filmmaker doesn't know what they're doing, or but I don't feel like it gets in the way. I feel like I can just sit and I can appreciate a movie. I mean, I watch so many movies. I love movies. Like, yeah, and I definitely don't feel like it desensitizes me. I mean, I can get scared. What movie was it? I mean, I remember. Have you seen Orphan? The movie
It's
with
the Guillermo del Toro movie?
No, it's
No.
with. You're thinking of The Orphanage, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of the
Yeah.
Orphanage.
So
No, I have not.
Orphanage
I
With
know
Vera
Orphan.
Farmiga, and I think it's
Where it turns out to be
Jean
a-
Collet Serra.
I
What's that?
almost spoiled it. I was like the one where it turns
the
out to
kid.
be a, and then I
Yeah.
didn't say because it's
That
yeah.
movie, I remember watching that movie just late at night alone, and it scared the hell out of me. Like, that movie was a seriously powerful horror film.
Wow,
But I
interesting.
feel like there's not that many. I think there's very few like really quality horror films that nail it in terms of like the broader kind of audience and delivering what people want, but also just getting really into like scary stuff that
Yeah. It's always
makes
human.
your skin crawl.
Did you find The Orphan to be a scarier film than The Orphanage?
I actually haven't seen The Orphanage.
Oh, I
I know
would
that's
love.
ridiculous.
I
right?
would
It was
love to have
scary.
this conversation
Yeah.
with you
Afterwards,
because
yeah.
because
should
when you said The
compare.
Orphanage,
So many people have told me about it. Yeah.
it is other than The Ring probably the scariest film I've
See,
ever
The Ring
seen.
also I thought was a really good, but the Japanese version I think is even stronger than the
The
American
Japanese
version.
versions of those are filmed so interestingly, where you feel
Yeah.
like you're watching, like it's almost like voyeuristic, like
Yeah.
because it's not. It's when they're maybe they. Well, I mean these are professional filmmakers, millions of dollars, so they're probably filming like the movie, knowing that it looks the way it looks, but it almost looks like they filmed it not thinking about anything about how it looks.
Yeah, I
Does
mean
that make
that's
sense?
yeah. I know what you. I mean, but
Like,
that's kind of quality
Yeah.
directing, you know.
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
some of the
feels
stuff
organic
is,
too. Yeah.
Some of it is so dull. Some of the shots,
Yeah.
in a lot of the Japanese horror movies.
Well, there is another thing though. I mean, they work very quickly. I mean, one of the most known Japanese directors to foreign audiences is the director of Audition, Takashi Miike.
Yeah.
And this guy shoots like more movies than anybody on your planet. Like I don't know how he
Jeez.
even like 6 films in a year. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean,
Oh
this
my
guy
God.
and he'll shoot anything. So that's what they do. You know, they just kind of they're in and out. I don't know it yet. I mean, this film that I told you about that's going to be a Yakuza film. Like, if things go as planned, I'm actually going to be directing it in Japan in Japanese. So I
That's
guess I'll actually
rad.
find out.
That's a
and-
challenge.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So we'll
think
see.
I worked with Japanese people. So I actually, I used to work for a motion capture studio for video games, specifically catching like performances of actors for video games. It was a really, really great job. But all of my coworkers were Japanese, and they like sent them here from Japan to work in that office. And the stereotypes are not untrue. They work hard. They put everybody to
Yeah.
shame. They work so hard. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that's, in filmmaking, for important reasons, unionized, right? Like,
Yeah.
and all the restrictions with, like, you can't work a crew 6 hours without doing a meal or calling for
Yeah.
grace, all that stuff. I don't imagine that's ever a problem with Japanese crews. I believe they would probably
Yeah, I doubt
push
it. I mean, I don't know.
themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
Push
I
themselves.
guess I'll discover that. Yeah.
Should be cool.
I
saw-
think the question that you saw was
The
from
Lynch one?
Vocalist. Yeah, the David Lynch question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Lynch
I
movies
saw that
is
too.
he wanted to know.
What's my favorite?
Favorite
Lynch?
David Lynch.
I actually Blue Velvet has never left my mind. Have you seen Blue Velvet? Oh my God.
It's been a while.
This is a
since I've seen
disturbing
it.
movie.
I need to watch it.
But I love
again.
Blue Velvet. I also love Lost Highway and also actually Mulholland Drive.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Mulholland
I
Drive.
can't
is my
understand
favorite.
that film.
I love that
tried.
film.
I liked
just
that
there's
a
like such
lot.
iconic stuff in that film. There's that whole like sequence with the guy, the cowboy guy. I don't remember it super well right now, but when they go up to that guy's ranch, it is just so. It's so
And it's
disturbing.
night.
It's really like he just touches on things that you can't label what it is, but he's touching on a certain essence that is like actually almost more horrific than showing anything.
Yeah.
But Blue Velvet goes into like a really like psychologically disturbing arena. This, especially the scene in that little like it's like a cabaret kind of scene where
Yeah.
the guy's singing. Yeah.
I think I've seen that scene on YouTube, just like checking out clips.
It's
people
it's
have
it's a
recommended.
brilliant film. I mean, I think that's also where Kyle MacLachlan got his start. Yeah.
Do you ever sit through the 4 hours that's Inland
In-
Empire?
I did watch Inland Empire, and I found it a little bit kind of. It definitely doesn't live up to Lynch's
It's so long,
other stuff.
and it's
yeah.
filmed
Wow.
with like a Sony VX like 1000.
Yeah,
Like,
and it was all about the whole digital thing. I remember it was kind of around the time of the whole digital revolution.
Yeah.
And I remember him, I think in interviews and stuff, he was talking about the fact that he was kind of taking advantage of that. Like you could let the camera run longer, you could shoot more footage because you don't have
because
to
you're
deal with
not
film stock.
worrying
Yeah,
about
Yep.
the cost. The bunnies
Right.
thing with the house,
yeah.
that it was like actually a stage. This is
Yeah.
Have you seen this? It's so
But also the
weird.
way it resolved at the end, where it came back and she was, you know, it turned out that like she was an actor and it was all kind of imagined. I don't know if that was what the intention was, but
I don't- it
it
took
felt
me
like
2
too much
nights
of a
to
neat
finish it.
resolve.
Interesting.
And I think that one scene where she's like lost and she's got the flashlight, and then she finds the dude who's like asphyxiating himself
Oh.
in the plastic bag. I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? It was worth it for that scene. I was like, that was kind of creepy, so I'll take it.
Well, guys, if you're just tuning in with us, we're going to update you on the context here, and then we're going to actually finally show you the trailer now that you've got plenty of context. So you're hanging out with Matthew A. Brown and Ashley C. Williams. They are respectively the writer, director, and the star of the film Julia, which is out in select theaters tomorrow in across California and in Chicago. So definitely check it out. It hits VOD in February 2nd.
Yeah.
But we're about to show you the trailer, and then you're going to be back live with them to ask them questions about the film, to share your impressions of the genre in general. We've got a really cool discussion here, so stick around. We're going to fire it up.
Can we warn them real quick?
Oh,
that
yeah, is there-
after we play the trailer, that you will not
Oh
be
yes,
here.
I will
We're
not
sorry,
be here because
You get me.
you get this guy asking all the questions, so it's going to be a different show
everybody. It's
altogether.
going to be
Yeah, I
a
imagine.
completely
Very
different,
different
show.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything about the trailer that you want to say to
No, I
preface
think let's
it?
just show it.
We're going to
Yeah.
show it.
Julia,
Sorry, I'm a bit early at the train.
are you kidding me? Earlier the better. Come in, please. You know, the moment I saw you, I couldn't stop thinking about you.
There were 4 of them.
You never went to the police.
Aren't those meant to suffer? I can help you. To lure them, we play this little game. Seduction. Blood. Vengeance. She's physically taking our power back from the ones who stole it.
I was weak. I should have stopped them.
The funny thing is, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
Julie, I'll do anything for you.
You will never stand by and watch. Never again.
And that is right, people. I'm Nick Aragon. Oh, wait, we're not doing a Nintendo Entertainment Show. No, we're not. This is actually Ashley C. Williams from Julia.
What's
and
up?
I'm not Jen. We used a magic trick, and I actually ate Jen, and that's it. and Matthew A. Brown. You guys are both with the middle initial.
middle
I imagine
initial,
that's a names were taken.
Yeah.
It's a lot like wrestling. You can't
There's
have
too many
some
Matthew
names.
Browns out there, and I think there's too many Ashley Williams
Brown
as well.
and Williams.
Yeah, exactly. We're
A
like,
little too common. You guys just watched the trailer.
okay.
Player of the year has the weirdest boner right now.
Has what?
He has a very weird boner right now.
Oh,
He
good,
doesn't know what
good.
to think of after that trailer. They just watched
they
It's
it.
all
just
about
watched
having
it.
a visceral reaction.
Well, I don't think you want a weird boner in that movie. As we heard earlier, we heard stories about extra boners being left around and wanting to be signed.
Yeah.
They were not expecting that. Some people said that he says it was better than he expected. I think you just have to see the movie for yourself, everybody. Good trailer, that's good. Sometimes I've seen some bad trailers, and I don't want to talk bad about movies, but some trailers don't make any sense.
Oh, you're playing now. Cool.
Yes. We decided
yet?
that it was time for her to get killed by a dog.
Oh, you taking it? Oh,
You're
she's
shooting
killing
cops.
I love it.
You know what, the people
Shit, that's probably a little bit.
the people on Twitch
Yeah.
have been demanding it, so we thought we'd finally get
Oh,
it to
okay,
it.
cool.
See, if
No,
we
that's
teased
cool.
it long enough that Ashley was going to play.
But this is what I was talking about earlier, because you were like having this leisurely drive, like through
Oh,
the
yeah,
streets,
this is
and
what
I wanted
people-
her to see,
this
like,
is how-
her fuck guys up.
This is how my girlfriend plays this game, and then she dies, and she just goes right back to where she
Oh,
died.
that's brilliant. Oh, that is brilliant.
It's so.
Oh my God.
I like to let Jen like try to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like a Jamal Crawford. I'm a good sixth man off the bench. But yeah, Jen's our interviewee. If you guys like the
She's the one to
movie,
go all ham on the police.
be sure to go to facebook.com/JuliaTheMovie, and Twitter. You can follow it at Julia the Movie. I'm sure they could find where it's playing in California and Chicago on the Facebook page.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And the Twitter has all the. I saw you guys.
And
are
there's
updating
also actually a Julia the Movie website.
.com.
Yeah,
Just
juliathemovie.com.
How'd you get that?
I don't
That
know.
seems like
we just
that
got
would
it.
be-
It'd be like a no-brainer,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah, no, we got that.
Awesome. So juliathemovie.com, you guys
Yeah.
can find.
And there's like a lot of
That's
stuff,
plain.
you know, all over the place now. There's like exclusive clips that have come out online, like on
That's cool.
IndieWire and on Twitch, actually. And on Hulu, and, you know, the trailers all over the place, and, you know, reviews and interviews. But a lot of it you can kind of link through on the Facebook page.
Yeah. That's how I found the Facebook page, was through the Twitter. Because I'm like one of those people who's almost done with websites now.
Okay.
Because of the phone. So it's like all
So
my
it's all
info.
Twitter?
Yeah, all my info comes from like Instagram
I'm
and
like-
Twitter and feeds.
It's amazing. I was off Facebook. I went off Facebook for like 3 years. Actually, when I went off to go make Julia, I just didn't want distractions.
Yeah.
And kind of by the time I was like coming back, I kind of thought about going back on when we started a whole festival tour, and I just didn't. And then finally, just like literally like 3 weeks ago, I'm like, shit, man, my movie's coming out in cinema. Like, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
So I jumped back in, and I only just got into Twitter. So like right now on Twitter, I don't know, I've got like 10 followers or something.
I have like 11. And I've been on there since the year that it came out.
Really?
Yeah. Nobody.
Yeah, no, but I don't.
No, I have like 500
Not
or
really
something
using.
like that.
I'm not really using Twitter, but I'm going to get into it more just because it is like a very quick way to kind of share
And
news and things.
it's a
and
very important tool. As
Yeah.
I've learned doing my own hosting and doing these things like that, I'm
Yeah.
like, I gotta share. And then when I don't share, I get on one social media, I get shit on another one. They're like, why didn't you tell us you
no,
were
but
doing
I
this?
think nowadays you just have to kind of engage with that. Like
Absolutely,
if
and it's
you're-
great. It's
yeah.
I don't see any negatives, especially even like the
I
chat
agree.
stuff.
Yeah.
Even the chat stuff. is
It's just
fun.
about like switching the stuff off, like, and taking, you know, getting stillness as well, though, because I think that's the issue. Is like you can be wired in like 24/7 now, and it's just not good for like
No.
your inner stability, you know.
It's really difficult. Like when you have to leave Facebook to get anything done. In my
Yeah.
opinion, when it's like a big project, I did a documentary about video games, surprisingly, and I was
Okay.
like, no, I can't be on here. I can't
Did you direct it?
direct it and edit it and shot it. And
Really?
we did it here for not for Twin Galaxies, but for our parent company.
Okay.
It's about you ever get into like MMORPGs like Warcraft or EverQuest?
No, I dabbled, but then again, it's that thing with me is
Those
that
can
I
get
become
very-
really obsessive.
Those are the worst ones
Yeah.
to jump into because then those are the games that don't end.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, I can play
That's-
6 hours of God of War and beat it, and then I'm like, oh right, it did.
See, if I did that, I would honestly pull like a Keith Richards and be awake for like 3 days, you know.
Yeah, it would lead to other vices. Did you just kill? Okay, so you get his money. You gotta go rob him.
How do I get
The
it?
glowing, just run over it. Not very realistic. You absorb money through your feet in this
This
game.
character's so cool.
That's the crackhead character in this game. What's his name again, guys?
Why am I
course.
playing a crackhead?
Franklin.
Franklin.
No, that's not Franklin.
It's good for you.
Yeah, that's the Trevor. So he's like a
Nice
tweaker,
sensor.
and he has this cult following of people, but he really doesn't care. There's like this game has 3 characters, like a guy from South Central, a guy from like a Wall Street guy,
Yeah.
and then this guy from like the boonies,
Okay.
which I don't know what area. This is supposed to be like near Palm Springs, like,
Yeah, it looks like it's all deserty.
and
How come the picture's now up on the screen
oh,
over
the
there?
chat went away because we have lots of technology.
Oh, I
It's
see.
still there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
still over there, but we
Okay.
have lots of automated technology that sends things around everywhere.
Somebody asked about if we'll be on Netflix or Redbox.
Redbox. I imagine as soon as you guys get that physical release in February.
Well, the thing is that we are coming out on February 2nd. We're coming out on like VOD, online, and all those platforms. So that's like the very next step. So yeah, definitely, we're definitely going to be out.
I have a question.
Oh, the fucking
Well,
dog.
I'm just reading these
Yeah.
questions. They're ridiculous. Well, Lenny wants to know what you look for in a guy, because I think he's probably like some girl.
Obviously, that's for Ashley, right?
What do you like in a guy, Matthew?
No, what do you? Yeah, that's what I am.
Okay.
I mean,
Sorry.
but you can answer that as well. I think he's looking. You know.
I like a real rugged, manly type.
Me
That's,
too.
You
that's
know,
what
like-
I like.
Like
I
a big
rugged.
ass sort of Silver Lake beard.
I like a mountain man. Mountain
Silver
man
Lake
with-
beard.
Silver Lake beard and crew cut. It's either Silver Lake or Williamsburg, you know? It's
Yeah,
like that
the
look.
hellmouths of the hipsters.
Yeah. I just love this thing of like people with these beards like down till there, and like they're like
But they
crew
can't
cut
lift
is
the
like
max.
so perfect.
It's
Do you
called
know
the
what I mean?
gentleman cut.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, she does hair.
But
and
it's like,
she
I don't
can't
know,
stand
like,
the
you know-
gentleman cut or the man bun.
No, because like the
The man
cinematographer on my film was he's an Icelandic guy, and he's done like 20 features, and he's like a real Viking. Like this
Oh, yeah.
guy's got a beard and long hair, and you know that's to
That's-
me like
I-
that's the thing.
I agree. You should have to chop down a tree if you're gonna be wearing a big beard. If you're gonna walk around like the brawny guy, you better be brawny.
Can't
That's
wait.
my rule
Yeah.
on that. So what would you say to Lenny though? He needs to do.
He needs to know. Yeah.
What do I look for in a guy? Hang on.
Because not
Someone who knows how to
everybody
use
can
a
grow a
gun.
beard. That'd be me.
What's that?
Like, there's some physical traits. There's like nothing he can do about that.
Ooh, fucking dog.
Answer the question, man.
Hang on.
Jesus.
Oh, I just
you
killed a
just killed
dog.
that dog.
Another
There's
dog.
another dog.
Because he says that I have to.
Well, the dogs are gonna kill you if you don't kill them. Oh, that dog's not dead, by the way. Wasted.
my
Now
God.
you're distracting me, Lenny.
Well, you could say the same thing about you to Lenny. He's been distracted.
What do I like about guys? What do I
No,
like
what do you
in
look
a guy?
for in a guy?
What do I look for in a guy? Honesty, respect, and
Money.
Yep.
money. Money's actually the last thing that I look for.
It should be, but a lot
Yeah.
of the times it's the first thing I look for in dudes because I want them to hire me. Well, I'm like, money. This is a big issue for me and guys. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not looking to date them, so it's if you're not looking to date somebody, then it's okay to care about their money. I think, because then it's okay for you to try and get it. Listen, I've derailed this thing about as far as I can derail this show. Okay, guys.
I think a sense of humor is important as well.
You see, these are all things you can do, Lenny. You may not be able to grow a big giant beard or have lots of hair all over your body,
So,
but this is advice that will help you.
can I hang out with you guys? So,
You can actually, and just go pop them in the face with the R button. You don't have to shoot everybody. Sometimes you can just pop people. Was it Grand Theft Auto 4 that started? You can buy a hooker and then kill her and then steal the money. There was 3 that started that. Yeah, you can basically. This is 5. You can do anything now in this game. And
Really?
even and online,
Anything. Literally.
you can do a lot. They let you get away with just for the M
Does like
rating.
animal bestiality qualify?
That might be
No.
in this game.
Good.
It
Wait,
might
That
how
would
do
be
I
concerning.
fight?
just R.
Oh, he punched me.
You gotta keep this one right
Where's
here.
ours?
You went from simple to stupid.
He's knocking. Well, you see, some guys. Oh, nice. If you go to the Facebook headquarters, Life Invader, it's called in this game.
So he's a crackhead, this character, right?
Yeah, he's like a big.
Like, does he have his stash?
Yeah.
Can she like smoke? Can he smoke?
You can. Fact check. You can, and then
Can I make a phone
he
call?
has specific missions where he has to like drop acid.
Yeah.
And then you end up shooting and fighting aliens in like a different universe.
Really?
And then he wakes up naked. You wake up in your underwear in a field somewhere, and then you have to go back on your story mode of this game. I had a question about like, I imagine you guys don't have tons of time to play video games all the time, but like any horror games you ever get to play.
No, go ahead. You keep going. You're doing well.
They're telling me that you don't play games.
Any horror games?
Let me play.
Oh no, I didn't mean like I meant in like general. I'm not like
Okay,
bullying
so
you.
what is
Games?
what? Sorry.
Yeah,
So-
scary games. You guys remember any scary games?
I don't remember any scary games.
You don't get scared very easily. You
I
said you like the
don't.
atmosphere. It's not.
Yeah.
It's less of a like a
How do I shoot
gory
this
thing.
up?
Is like
I think.
oh, hit the red button. You're
Oh,
calling
you're
somebody
making a
right
phone
now.
Who am I
Call?
calling?
You're making phone calls.
Okay.
You're calling a blimp.
I'm connected.
Can I help you?
Do you have any blimps available?
It's been
settle
a
down
Can't
to
year,
you
hear
right
the,
away.
I can't hear the
Amazing
thing.
what you can order.
it's been like a year since I
how do I
played
Hope it
this
works
game.
out for you.
The
Goodbye.
red button.
Okay. Okay.
He ordered a blimp. You can order a blimp in this game. Okay, fact checker Doc says you
What
can.
qualifies as a scary game?
Well, there are a lot of there's.
I'm
You'd
tr-
be
I'm trying to
surprised.
figure this out. Like
There's
what,
a lot of really.
What do the different buttons do?
There's a lot of really scary games. The L bumper will bring up your gun list.
This here.
What
You
is
hold-
Hold this down.
Yeah.
Hold this down, and then
Use the stick to
this
pick
stick
your gun.
Pick your gun. So
And now
while you
hold the
this,
L trigger.
Jesus. This
The
is
L
like,
trigger?
It'll take me this,
Yeah, and then use the R trigger to shoot.
the R.
Trigger, the index
R
finger.
down here.
And then you use the right
Oh,
stick.
sorry,
Man, I mean like.
You use your
I'm
right
useless.
use your right thumb
Okay.
to aim.
Right thumb.
The right thumbstick.
Oh, this. Okay.
The left thumbstick moves you around.
Oh, what's gone black?
You're
I'm
gonna
died.
absolutely. I'd
You're
have
gonna
to, like,
be
sit and
coming out of
figure
the
this out,
hospital.
and then once I get into it, I won't be able to put it down.
you're out of
That'll
the
be
you're out of the
fine.
hospital. It is fun. My
I
girlfriend
just want
has
it
no
done,
idea
though.
how to play anything ever, and
Oh, really?
this is all she wants to do is just run people over. That and Mario Maker, which is really fun. No, there's a whole world of like really scary horror
I'm
games.
starting to get a feeling.
Just
yeah.
like in how movies have like
How do you
gory.
run?
Yeah.
A
A.
green.
Okay.
Hold it. There's like gore games, and then there's atmospheric games, and then
Right.
there's this game called PT,
Okay.
which is like Silent Hill.
oh, nice.
It's Silent Hill adjacent, where
Cool.
you're stuck in this apartment and there's a ghost that's trying to get you, but there's a really crazy backstory and it looks absolutely real.
I
How
think
do I
I would
pull a
love
gun
that
again?
game.
And I couldn't
do I
play
pull a
it by
gun?
by myself. Oh, hold that.
Hold that.
Use
and
the right
then
stick,
Okay, hold this.
and then use the right stick to point
This one.
Okay.
at whichever. Yeah, like
Whatever
that's
one
the
you
AK,
want.
or no, that's the M16, I think. And then let go of the bumper when
Okay.
you're done. So now you have a
Oh,
grenade
sweet.
launcher.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so
then
it's
how
a
do I
little
shoot
bit.
again with the right?
Yeah, you hold L.
Okay.
Someone's asking you, what do you think of Mel Gibson as a director?
I think he's actually quite a brilliant director.
What
Yeah.
has he directed? Mel Gibson.
He
Braveheart?
did,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Braveheart and
One of my favorite movies, actually.
He's a great director.
I just want to take this fucking.
And he's a
down.
great actor.
Passion of the Christ, was that him?
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
Passion of the Christ. He
I like
did,
that movie too. Jesus dies in the end,
He
though. guys.
did.
Spoiler.
I know, it's just
See,
how do I
these
shoot?
guys, people in the chat know Silent Hills. Well, they know PT. That would be, see, in order to play that game, you have to have the right atmosphere. That's the other thing with video games, and when it comes to horror, is you can't be playing in like a setting that's all bright. It's
wanna
just like
get
a
in the
movie.
car.
You want it to
Right,
be quiet,
exactly.
but it's immersive because you're the one kind of making the decisions.
I'm so used
what is
to
the fantasy one? Was it Final
Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
That's like 100 hours of running
Yeah.
and hitting A.
I played that.
Or X.
My ex is really into
Nerdy?
that game.
Oh,
Like
there's a
nerdy?
kid coming.
24/7. Yeah.
I have a friend.
He loved fantasy, so.
I have a friend who will remain unnamed because sometimes he watches. He ordered a custom
Oh, did you see
custom
that?
Japanese remote controller where you can play.
Did
It was
you see
made
that?
just for
Sorry.
Final Fantasy.
I bummed the shit
We
out
saw
of
that
used
explosion.
car.
It was made just for Final Fantasy where you can play Final Fantasy with one hand. Because you know how long that game, like how many
Yeah.
hours? And so he would be able to sit there and eat pizza
Oh
and do other things with his hand while he played Final Fantasy.
All right.
And that's what he did. Things like make phone calls, draw.
Really?
You can do You can do lots of things with your other hand if you had a one-handed gaming controller, guys. But productive things. Use Excel.
I needed a better weapon.
Well, you ran out. You shot. I think you shot all
my
of your.
grenades?
Yeah, because you can only hold 10. Otherwise, you'd be
Okay.
God. If you had unlimited
I know,
grenade
yeah.
launcher, you would be a god. Well, Cybercat, we were trying to not be so vulgar about it.
Oh, what?
Well, yeah, Player of the Year says your ex is a gamer, so you might like gamer guys, and these guys might have a chance. But then Supernautics brings a point that he's your ex.
Yeah, so maybe I don't like gamers.
So you guys will never know. That rules everybody in this building out. So don't worry, you still have a chance out there because this building is full of gamers.
Gamers are cool. I like
Gamers are cool. They only
Yeah.
became cool like in the not so distant past. Like,
Yeah.
Forget how to pull a gun.
Now it's kind of a trend.
Learn how to pull a gun again?
Well, everybody's a gamer now, and this is our philosophy at Twin Galaxies.
What's this?
Everybody is a gamer because if you think about it, like you might know like a 50-year-old lady that you see on Facebook who's always giving you Candy Crush like invites or join my clan of wars, you know? Like that's a
Yeah.
gamer. Like
That's true.
and I bet you she's put some like dedication into that too. I bet you there's a lot more hours in that Candy Crush
There you go.
than there was in somebody's Final Fantasy, you know? And so no. It's
gosh.
okay. So Twin Galaxies is about that, about embracing everybody as a gamer because we
Okay.
all are gamers, whether you
Yeah.
play on
Yeah,
your
no,
phone.
definitely I am.
And you know, if you play on your
I'm
phone,
useless at this game at the moment. But
it'll the
should
thing
drive
with
cars.
the thing with double thumbstick games,
Yeah.
where you got to run and look. My brother is like a Tetris god, but you
Yeah.
get him on a controller like that, and he wouldn't. It's just looking up, you know, and then like kind of jerkily moving. But you know, he's like really good at Street Fighter and Tetris, and it makes some sense. We at Twin Galaxies, we have another arm where you can upload your scores, and we actually get a lot of submissions of world records from people playing on mobile devices.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's games like Just Dance, you know, where there is no controller.
yeah.
You are the controller. I don't know if you guys would
Are
be
you doing that consciously?
in dancing games.
No, kicking the dog and stuff.
Well, the dog I think is knocked out. I
Okay.
think the dog might get
I
back
should
up.
kill that dog.
I didn't want
Somebody
to, and
said
then
something
the
about
dog kills
gaming
me.
taking over the film industry, and it's
very interesting.
It is amazing
a lot
actually
of
what's
money.
been going on. Yeah, I mean, I like, you know, a lot of the time now people are taking games and then adapting them into film,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'd so love to do that.
And vice versa too.
Yeah, I mean, but I'd so love to do that. It's also graphic novels and
Graphic novels, I think, have get more adaptations because I think, first of all, there's a lot of movies that put game developers off of selling their license, and
Okay.
a lot of at least the big, like you're not going to see a Call of Duty movie because
Yeah.
they don't need to make that movie.
Yeah.
They make $1 billion from the game as it is.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of really bad movies based on video games.
Yeah.
It's not that it's put the game developers off as much, even though there are some games that they do want movies, like Uncharted, for example, but they're handling themselves. But Hollywood's been put off because it's never profitable.
yeah.
They always ruin it.
Yeah,
Or they ruin
it's,
it.
but it's like anything. It's just like you've
Oh.
got to get these things right. It's like you can't just take, for example, you can't just take a graphic novel and then translate it directly into a film because it's got a different set of rules. You know, the language in graphic novels, the way it moves through a story, and I mean the slides are so cinematic, like the frames, like
Every
on a
single
page.
one.
It's unbelievable, you know, in the graphic novels. But like I just read a graphic novel called Punk Rock Jesus. Have you heard of it? Sean Murphy. And it's mind blowing, and it's totally controversial and radical and cool, and I'd so love to like turn that into a film. I think there was like some article a little bit ago about New Line having picked it up or something. I don't know what's happened to it, but it's like, you know, I've seen like how people can react to when you're dealing with more like controversial and taboo kind of material, like we are in Julia. But I mean, this film, this graphic novel goes so much further, and I know that's part of the allure, you know, because that's what graphic novels do.
Come back
You know,
here.
they touch on real controversial kind of subject matter. But this would be such a compelling film, but it has to be done right. It has to be by someone who gets what like the deeper vision of the material is. You can't just apply some kind of commercial kind of take on it and like literally like rip the graphic novel off as it is. You know?
In games, I mean, outside of the Call of Duties of the world, a lot of the games that we love, there's a lot of reading, and there's a lot of story there that's happened because you read, like you searched this apartment or this like fantasy area, and you found the scrolls of something,
Yeah.
and it gave you this backstory. A lot of the backstory doesn't actually happen like in the engine or in the voice acting. There's deeper games that have that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to respect. It's a tough thing for,
How do we do
I
that?
guess, sometimes for people to respect the genre enough to know what you can cut and what you can't cut
Yeah.
from the game into the movie. But games look so good now that when you make a movie of a game, I think you should divert from where the game went.
I think you have to. Yeah.
You have to, because you'll
also you
never
can go
get
so much further. Yeah, with
you're not
with
going to
the technology.
recreate that
Yeah.
game experience in the theater. So if you tell the same story that happened in the game in the theater,
Yeah.
you're kind of
I
wasting
mean,
your
I think
time.
the real question is like what are the strengths of the different mediums, and obviously with cinema and using real human beings, there's going to be that emotional kind of soul, you know, and I think that's where you kind of look for the answers, you know, whereas
Forget the term for it when they have dead eyes in the video game. The endless, it's like the empty cavern or something like that.
Yeah.
Or there's like a term. Because when you digitize, like everybody gave shit for Kevin Spacey. Uncanny Valley. That's the term.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
What is it?
The Uncanny Valley.
Really?
When the eyes are looking into the Uncanny Valley. Like,
Okay.
I guess.
It's like the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah. So Kevin Spacey's face is just like
Which game is he in?
He's in Call of Duty.
And it's really his face.
Advanced
Yeah.
Warfare, and it looks real.
shooting
In the
at me.
cutscenes, you're like, that's real.
Okay.
But his eyes are just like, you're like, where is he looking?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Ask me why I have such violent tendencies.
I know you're like kicking dogs.
They
in the
also
head and
wanted to
shit.
note that you played better than Matthew.
Oh.
I know, but actually, I've got much like richer talents when it comes to gaming than she does. I have to, you know, I need a bit more time with the material. You know.
That and
No,
I'm
Ashley's
sure,
kicking ass.
I'm sure we
impressed.
we can take you back to like an Atari or something or a Nintendo where you would own.
Yeah.
Somebody keeps asking me, what films do I see
Yeah.
myself
What
in
would
the
you?
future?
You have a very bright and long future ahead of you, unlike. Well, never mind. Unlike me.
Like,
Unlike me. I didn't want to take it there, but we did. We did. He
you
held.
set yourself up for that
Well,
one.
he saw where I was going with that, and then he saw I wasn't going to commit, and he was like, "No, you commit it. What do you want to be doing? Like, let's say your 10-year plan. Like, what you're going to be in."
Definitely, you know, getting into more of the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see myself in, you know, very kick-ass female, you know, empowered
That's
role.
Yeah.
becoming mainstream.
It is.
10
mainstream
years
now.
ago, 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago,
Yeah.
superhero comic book movie wasn't the mainstream,
Yeah.
and now it is.
Yeah.
And now it's like everybody's just kicking ass.
And she could so do that.
And there's so much
Yeah.
room for women, I think, in the
No.
superhero
Yeah,
genre to
there's-
grow.
Oh my gosh,
there
yeah.
still isn't a
I mean,
female-led
I know,
one.
but there was recently created, wasn't there a female Thor?
Yeah, there's
Just
the
recently,
female
yeah.
Thor character, yes. But there still hasn't been a female like Marvel like Phase 1, Phase 2 movie.
Right.
Where it's like, where's the female lead one?
But I mean, it's so. I'm sure it's on the car.
It's-
Like I'm
and it
sure
is.
it's in the works already, big time.
She has the looks to do it too,
Yeah, definitely.
and the gun skills, at least in the video game.
Yeah.
You're really good at killing dogs. Is that gonna help you?
I know. What's that all about?
I hate killing dogs.
So
but,
why are you doing
But
it?
they're attacking me and I die.
Can't you like pick them up and throw them? Like or lock
I
them
did
in, like
kick
lock
a
them inside a
dog
house
to
or
death, but
something?
it's the same thing. You're killing them.
No,
either
well you
way.
can lock it in a house or like
Can I?
I don't know.
You can trap
so
it in a
sweet.
house.
I'd like to see you try and pick it up.
Do you think vengeance is inherently evil? That's a question because it's on topic.
I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's like I don't think it solves anything.
Too robust.
I think getting revenge. At the end of the day, it's like you can't solve a problem by you know. You've got to come at it from a new angle. You
Yeah, I
can't
think
like
you-
you can't solve a problem like with the same action like
Yeah.
that caused it in the first place.
And I think you
This is a cool
you
car. How do I get in?
spoke about that earlier, just about like revenge. It's just there's nothing.
What? White?
I mean,
Oh,
that-
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yellow
but it's a
button.
real question. I don't know. I think it's a real question. It's like I don't think it ever solves anything, but it does go back to like the Old Testament, you know,
Mm-hmm.
an eye for an eye.
No, no, no. I
Not
wanna
that
get in.
which is I don't know. I don't
Pull the
think
R
that's
trigger
valid
to go
anymore.
forward.
I mean, I just stole a hard.
Well, I'm
that
sure
it's a
you
big city.
definitely-
explored that.
I have,
sure.
yeah, and it's
You had to.
definitely like, just violence in general is very, you know, it like lends itself to cinema,
Lends itself to games.
and hugely to games.
To movies, it's so much fun, but that's where it should belong, guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong in the real world. That's why games are great, because we can shoot people,
Yeah.
and shoot dogs, and we can joke about it. This is the only place we can joke about it. We have about 1 minute and 50 seconds left, so let me
Oh,
just
wow.
get the plugs in real quick.
Okay.
Go to juliathemovie.com to find out where it is going to be screening in California and the greater Chicago area.
Rocking in El Camino, love it.
So you guys who are lucky enough to be in Chicago or California could be able to see the movie. But if you wait just a little bit, everybody else can see it on demand or on disc starting in February. So it comes out tomorrow. So you can get your tickets today at juliathemovie.com and follow at Julia the
Actually,
Movie. Anything
You
else,
can get
guys?
tickets on Fandango or at
AMC
AMC
theaters, yeah.
AMC
I have a
theaters.
couple Fandango tickets.
Tickets are not sold on the website.
Oh, they're not sold on the website. They're through
No.
the distributor.
Yes.
So, but they can find out when it's playing.
Yeah.
And then you can
Right,
hit
let
up your
them-
favorite ticket vendor. I would recommend you guys use Fandango, not because we film all their shows right next door.
What am I doing? I need to.
Oh. Yeah.
I think I died.
Oh yeah, Telebro, aren't you close enough to go see it? That would be cool. Telebro is one of our regulars, and he watches every day, all
We're
day.
in Chicago. It's all on the Facebook event page. It's all listed on our, if you go to Julia-the movie
And AMC.
on Facebook and on AMC.
AMC Chicago.
It will, I'm sure it will hit Netflix someday, yeah. It's all the VOD and online and like stuff comes out on February 2nd, and I think it has to do, definitely is going to go to iTunes and those outlets first.
That's the best.
So I know for sure it'll be on iTunes on February 2nd.
I'm a disc guy because I have I'm a video file, an audio file, so I can't have the artifacting block, so I can't wait for it on Blu-ray. Thank you very much,
What's
guys.
my color?
Yeah,
That's
thanks
our
guys.
10-second mark. Yeah,
Yeah, it was awesome hanging. Thank you guys.
appreciate it, everybody. Check it out.
Bye. Thank
Twin Galaxies.